Dan Stevens has gone from the beast to a priest, but don't worry, he's still keeping young girls locked up in his home.
Kill yourself!
Emma?
Emma?
You'd be forgiven for going, what? Hearing that Al Pacino and Dan Stevens are starring as two priests in an exorcism movie in 2025. I had no idea this was coming out until it was literally on my local cinema listings, and I was like, eh? The Ritual stars Dan Stevens as a conflicted priest ordered to take notes at an exorcism in the 1920s, the most well-documented case in an exorcism in American history, as they write both on the screen at the beginning and at the end, just to make sure you really drive it home that this matters as a film for some sort of reason, when it doesn't overly. Yeah, so Al Pacino is the kooky guy hired to come in and do the priest exorcism kooky stuff. He's really weird. And Ashley Greene is also there from Twilight. Yes, there's something ironic about both Dan Stevens and her playing priest and nun when they have been vampires in the past. Not Al Pacino, though. He's a good boy. He just played Scarface. This was such a leap out of the woodwork for me that I didn't know what to expect at all from it. It's mostly, honestly, about Dan Stevens being a priest who gets licked on the arm early by an attractive young woman and then has a religious midlife crisis, I guess. It's such a bizarre idea. They bring this woman to their church and then they keep her there for, an exorcism that lasts a couple of weeks at least, which was a twist on the normal kind of exorcism film because it did allow them to leap into the exorcism quite early on, but then make it last forever. Not really sure overall if it helped or hindered making the film feel like it passed quickly starting the exorcism so early. If they'd started it a little bit later, probably it would have been better, because it was a lot of nights of them just kind of going yes, reading the same different Bible passages and little holy water squirt, and then she does some sort of, overtly sexual or mean thing, and then they're like, whoa, and then sometimes she'll attack one of them, and then they leave for the night. It gets a little repetitive, but it's not good. It's not that good. My biggest problem with this is that Dan Stevens' character is so viciously against believing that she is possessed when he's a priest in the 1920s, which I feel like was before the church's real attempts to modernize itself, so I feel like, so it was just very annoying having probably the character who is least prepared to believe in exorcisms out of any character in any exorcism movie ever be a priest. It just felt like such a bizarre one for me. I did enjoy Al Pacino's character. He was quirky and weird and fine. Ashley Greene was just kind of also there. And I've got to say, this church, wow, a lot of unreasonably attractive nuns who have clear certain elements of things, like lip fillers that we just don't have in the 1920s. But I feel like A, Dan Stevens' character, B, the shaky handheld camera work style, and C, everything else about this film forgets that it's the 1920s. They seem to have no idea. They seem to put it on the screen at the start, be like, yes, this is in the 1920s, and then nothing else would tell you that it is set that far back, honestly. So they're all just freely haunted by this demonic presence for weeks in a church, which, everything about a church screams you can't be haunted by a super demonic presence in it, but that's fine. Interestingly, the first minute of this film features the woman running, the possessed woman running up the walls and stuff like that, and then she just never does that again. It really feels like it's like some sort of, it's kind of going look at these 10 crooky exorcist film things that you've seen 100 times before. Number 7 will make you shit your pants. It's almost like this film was made by BuzzFeed or something. Oh my god, really? Yeah, the words of BuzzFeed production scared me, and rightfully so. This feels insane, an exorcism film mostly about a priest that doesn't believe in exorcisms, while another priest who looks like he just wandered in off the street tries to rekindle his weird relationship he seems to have with this young woman that's never really explained fully. Also, I know that they're supposedly being influenced by a demon within their walls, but the looks that Dan Stevens and Ashley Greene share, so horny that I thought this was Fleabag's version of a priest for a minute. Anyway, it's pretty much just a disaster. It's not good. It seems like somebody just saw that this was the most documented American exorcism, very specific, in history, and went, ooh, that's a film, maybe-ish. So I'm giving How Dare You Make Dan Stevens play someone so boring and normal 1.5 stars. Seriously, Dan Stevens is normally insane, just the craziest person on screen, and that's the way I like it. Having him play someone this blasé and dull and annoying and straight was very upsetting to me.